The IS-7 is a vehicle that I haven't played all too much in the past year, and it's mainly down to the fact that this tank doesn't have anything entirely unique about it. I mean, yes, it has good armor, and good mobility, and decent damage per shot, but there are other tanks which exemplify that area somewhere else, or over here, with either more mobility, less armor, more gun depression. The IS-7 is kind of the do-it-all heavy. But that does not make it bad, and that also does not make it unenjoyable to drive. In today's video, I'm going to be playing in the IS-7 and showcasing why this is still one of the best tier 10s available for really any skill set. The vehicle, even after the speed nerfs, still reaches a top speed of 40, has a decent power to weight ratio, which you're going to see, features tungsten rounds, meaning that you can deal a lot of damage to your opponents, and finally has good premium pen at 336, meaning that you can cut through quite heavily armored opponents pretty easily. I do find it a little bit tragic that Wargaming buffed the IS-7's premium pen, but still has not touched the 5As. It's really disappointing, but I've been a player who has advocated for Wargaming to buff the IS-7's pen for years because back in the day it used to only have 315 mils of premium pen running Kali, which meant that you really couldn't cut through enemy heavies reliably. And that's a problem because you're a frontline heavy. You should be able to deal with other heavies as equally they can deal with you. So we arrive on Hellas. Up against us we have an Object 777 version 2. We have a Type 71, both pretty strong vehicles, but thankfully our tank is also very, very strong. And we have a 60 TP and a T30. So we're going to obviously pay attention to where our team goes, because if I don't get support, then it's not going to be all too effective of a game. But we should be fine. We can see the mobility here. Vehicle is fairly fast. It's pretty similar in terms of power to weight ratio to the 60 TP next to us, as we can see. Maybe a little bit better, but yeah, it's definitely not a slow tank by any means. Our 60 is climbing up. And interesting, not seeing much as of yet. In fact, we can see the enemy 777 is already spotted. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then we're going to head right over to the enemy flank. We're just going to drive on this here and keep on going. We have the enemy Type 71 spotted already. We do have the Caro detected as well. Okay, well, there's the Type. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get a shell into that Type just yet, but if we move up a bit, like this, there you go, Type 71 misses, then I can activate Tungsten and get a 537. Tungsten shells is definitely one of the nicest parts about this tank. The ability to just chunk 500 HP off your opponent does feel pretty good, I'm going to be honest. And, well, I didn't think that the 777 was going to shoot me as well, but I guess he did. However, I will assume that my 60 TP will get the clear on the Type, or not, or he'll miss an easy shot. I guess I will get the clear on the Type. There you go. Easy shot, taking him out of the game. Okay, well, we're up to 1400 damage already, which is pretty solid. And I'm not really sure. Okay, now that I am a little cautious about, because that is a Waffenpfleger after all. I'm going to drive over, and we're going to get an HE into the Waffle, and bonk. There you go. 579, not running Spallliner. 60 TP, not really sure what this play is here, but you're going to lose a lot of health for it, my dude. That was not worth. Yeah, wow. How to kill yourself 101, ladies and gents. Drive out in the open and do that. Alright, well, we're okay. We did bleed 420 health, but we got the clear on that opponent, which is obviously pretty dang important. Now we got to deal with this Sheridan, which we're going to get one easy shell into right there. My Sheridan rams into me, which is not ideal. I'm going to try and, well, I was going to... Bro, how do you miss that shot, Sheridan? Oh, my rat. Well, thankfully, I am good enough to not miss the shell. I can't believe my Sheridan missed that. That is so sad. Now, again, the armor on this tank is pretty good. And, oh, well, unless I get max rolled for 538 by the 777. But the armor is pretty good on this vehicle. Which means that as long as you can get in a fairly decent side scrape, you can get some bounces in this tank. Now, does that mean I'm going to get bounces everywhere? No. But thankfully, I baited that 777 into a position where I was able to get a bounce. Conway is probably going to out-reload me here, so Conway's going to get the clear. But, yeah, we can see just in this game alone how the IS-7 has been able to take what normally would be a pretty tricky win and turn it into a pretty good one. Alright, we got rid of that 777 turret. Did not want that stuck on me for the rest of the game. T100LT is a one-shot, and that means all we need to focus on is this Caro. We have 440 health, which means I can take, realistically, one shell from his vehicle. Anything more, and I'm going to die. I think a max roll from the Caro is 475, so I am potentially a one-shot, but if I get max rolled or a super high roll, then it wasn't meant to be. So we got the Caro all the way on the wide, and can't hit him yet, but this is where that great mobility from the IS-7 comes in play. We can see him chilling at 40 right here, and that's what's great about this tank, is you have this mobility, which means that you can very easily push in and get some shells out. And there you go, you can see that actually pretty decent on-move dispersion, allowing me to get a fairly easy shell into this enemy Caro. So it's me, a T100 LT, and the Caro, who overpokes and allows me to get an easy clear. All that's left now is the T100 LT, and, well, that's basically it. This T100 is definitely going to die. We're just going to wait, and there you go. I was like, I might as well wait for him to hit the ground. We get the clear, and 5 kills later, 5,000 damage later, we get a victory. I don't think many other heavies could have done what I did there as confidently, and it's why this is such a good heavy. Yeah, there you go, 4,966 damage dealt. We ended up blocking 690. We aced the vehicle and gave ourselves 196,000 credits. And we can see this wasn't a boring game at all. You know, people are always like, oh, why would you want tanks that are balanced? Because they'll be boring. I'm like, no, not really. The IS-7's a pretty, I would say, balanced heavy. It's not a tank that I'm ever scared of going up against, because you already know its weaknesses. It's got a lower plate that you can cut through quite easily. It's got an upper plate, which, if you load gold, is also a pretty easy pen. And while it is very strong in the side armor department, because the gun itself isn't incredibly accurate, because it's definitely not the highest DPM vehicle out there, you're not ever worried about IS-7s. And yet playing it, it's a pretty fun tank. And if you put yourself in a solid situation, you can almost always get a very good result out. So here we are on game number 2. And as we are noticing, we have nobody supporting us here. So we're going to head over towards the medium flank. Now, thankfully, the IS-7 is a fairly mobile vehicle. If I was in a Maus or an E100 in this game, yeah, I'd be screwed. And that's why driving super heavy sucks, because you are completely dependent on your team. And in a battle with Blitz, where there's only 7v7, you don't have enough people on your team to reliably cover you, which is the problem with the game sometimes. So the enemy 121 has already made, oh, wow, 2 of their teammates have already made an incredibly aggressive play, and for some reason, our mediums... Wait, where are our mediums? We don't even have any mediums. What the heck, bruh? Well, we have the 57. Obviously, that shell was not going to hit. We have the E5 pushing the WZ-121 and managed to miss the shot. Pretty impressive stuff. Well, now my E5 is going to do a fantastic job of driving... Okay, I was going to say driving in front of me. There you go. Nice 546 into that player. We do have the minnow in the back, but not hitting me yet, so that's obviously pretty good. We have the 57 heavy over on the flank. And I wonder if we can hit that 57 at all. Yeah, there you go. Nasty shell from the IS-7. Again, we can see this gun actually being really, really solid here. Like, the ability to hit these shots is pretty surprisingly good in this tank. So we're going to move up a bit. We're going to aim it on the 121 again. That was an awful roll. 388 is not ideal for, you know, any tank. We're going to reload again. We got 3 seconds left. I'm definitely going to take out this 121. I mean, bro's literally AFK. There you go. The minnow does end up hitting me, but not too big of a deal. Let's just back up before the 57 can hit me. And let's see. Okay, good. Teammate gets the clear. I always kill AFKs, because at the end of the day, you never know if they're going to come back. And if he did come back, he would have killed my E5 and put our team in a really awkward spot. I don't want that to happen. So, killing that player puts us in a much, much better position. Not sure why our 268 is back there, to be honest. I didn't even know we had a 268 until I saw him shoot that player. But I guess it's something, right? Well, we have the back of the E6 turret, which I shoot for 638, which is obviously a pretty nasty amount of damage. And now, well, E6 reloads so freaking fast, bro. It's kind of crazy how fast that tank reloads. Okay, well, we have the 57 heavy over here. Interesting. I think that my 183 is going to kill himself. That's what I think. But I guess we're going to find out, right? Well, let's see. 183 shot, and not able to hit the E6 at all. Crazy. There you go. We have an HE shell from an enemy tank across the map, which I can't do anything about. Our 183 bled half of his health. Yep, this is how you lose a pretty easy win, by having your tank destroyers be 2 183s, kill themselves in the first 10 seconds of the game, and do nothing else productive. Thankfully, the E6 made a bad play, and was punished quite heavily for it. Maybe don't drive over the ridge line, especially when you don't know where the enemy team is. So we have the enemy minnow spotted, and in a very, very careful camper here. There's the enemy 183. Okay, interesting. We have the Minnow over here. There you go. Minnow gets shot. And I'm going to aim it on his lower plate. Perfect. 513. There you go. We get a bounce for 490. This obviously puts the Minnow in a pretty awkward spot, especially because the Minnow only has one shell, which he just fired. And with my tungsten, I guarantee a high damage clear into his tank. Now we just gotta pray that my teammate lives at least a little bit longer. The 57 Heavy backs off, not able to get a shell into his vehicle, but we still do have the 268 alive, which is pretty important at least. Okay, 268, well, you missed a very easy shot there, which doesn't help me out too much, does it now? I know that they have that E4 somewhere over here, and the problem is that E4 is full health Aruni, and that's a pretty big problem. Yep, there he is. Okay, well, I'm going to aim it on the E4's lower plates, and I'm going to angle it, but hits me for 623, which is not ideal. And I think the only way that I'd be able to deal with this E4 is if I'm able maybe to get to his side just like this, and then cut around him, possibly. I think that would be the... What? Really? That's cringe, bruh. He's actually able to hit that. That is so cringe. Alright, well, I mean, as I mentioned, I've done the best that I could in this game. And at the end of the day, doesn't really matter what I do when I get a team like this. So we're going to shoot the E4 on the track wheel. If only I'd been able to do that, you know, a shot earlier, because then we might have been able to actually win this game a bit better, but... oh well. I did the best I could here. I basically beat an E4 that was full health when I wasn't. I held an entire line of enemy tanks. Unfortunately, the team fell apart. We did 5,330 damage, blocked 1,300, and there's your team. I mean, at the end of the day, IS-7, great tank. And we can see why. The gun is surprisingly accurate, especially after I just made my video on the FE4-202. It's sad that this gun feels quite a bit better. When you pair that with the fact the armor's great, the alpha damage is fantastic, especially with tungsten rounds, which as you saw allowed me to kill that Minnow in 2 shots, which normally would not have been the case. And when you pair all of that with the other capabilities, this is a truly fantastic tank. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the IS-7, but I think it's a great vehicle. And I would definitely say it is still a solid grind. The line itself is also pretty good. The IS-8 is a really, really good heavy. For some reason, Wargaming keeps nerfing its top speed. It goes 41 now, but it does feature 2,600 DPM with 360 mils of heat. It's got a really accurate gun. The IS-3 got a big armor buff. It has really good levels of pen, 278 on the premium. The whole line's actually pretty fun. It's just a little bit annoying every now and then. But yeah, it's a great tank. And with the game modes that constantly come out, I would definitely suggest that this is one of the first heavies that people consider grinding. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!